Welcome to Talking Giants presented by SeatGeek. I'm your host, Bobby Skinner, here with my co-host, Justin Pennick. We've got a couple things to talk about. Was looking forward to talking about Tyrod Taylor and Ricky Seals-Jones being his additions. I love talking about new free agents on the team, especially backup QB. It's a very fun conversation that we haven't talked about a ton. But I do like Tyrod Taylor a lot as a backup QB, so it makes it a little more fun to talk about backup quarterback with Tyrod Taylor. But most importantly, we have to talk about Logan Ryan being cut. Justin, how are you? Before, I'm going to do the Patreon in a second, but how are you?
Hey, Bobby Skinner. Today is one of those days where I can't let Twitter get to my head and impact my pseudo podcast performance. I could be, exaggerating a little bit with this Logan Ryan cut, and the Giants could do something tomorrow and, sign Deshaun Elliott, a guy from Baltimore, and, easily replace Logan Ryan with the low cap hit, but I'm not really happy with this move. So I could be exaggerating, and I'm going to try to not let people on Twitter impact how I feel about things on the podcast. But I'm doing all right. Corned beef and cabbage. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Go St. Peter's Prep.
Happy St. Patrick's Day to snacks.
No, I'm sorry, not St. Peter's Prep. Go St. Peter's University.
I picked them.
How are you?
I'm good. With the Logan Ryan stuff, I do disagree with the move. There's still stuff to be seen, but we're going to break it all down. But part of the issue right now is we are in the honeymoon stage with Joe Shane.
Yeah.
Where it's like if you disagree with anything, it's like, well, trust the process. It's like, what we do is just we're not gonna agree with everything because I just want to say what I think and not be old takes exposed when I'm contradicting myself.
Yep.
5-6 months from now. And we're also coming off a 4-13 season where essentially every player on the team besides Andrew Thomas and Xavier McKinney is a bum. Yeah. There's no in the middle conversation with it. So the Patreon, the new members of the family on this episode are Mark Newtile. He's neutral on the subject. Braden Hernandez. So brave of him to join our Patreon right before Will Hernandez probably signs, which I'm actually looking forward to seeing where Hernandez, Carter, and Peppers go. Mostly Jabril Peppers. I'm excited to see where he goes. Adam Troy. He is part of he's a Trojan. My Miami Hurricanes are going to beat your USC Trojans tomorrow, Adam. And then Brian Walsh, who I'm pretty sure there's a famous Brian Walsh.
It's funny you mentioned Trojans. I was just looking at Drake Jackson today. I basically have all the edge rushers.
London. I was looking at Drake London.
Oh, I basically have all the edge rushers done that could be picked in the first 2 to 3 rounds-ish, and I'm going to try and finish the rest tomorrow on Friday. So patreon.com/talkinggiants. Thank you to our new patrons. If you want to be a patron, you want to be one of our favorite people in the world, go to that site, $2 a month plus some of the tiers. You get to hang out with us live while we record the shows. Bobby Skinner will send you some stickers, magnets in the mail, and then 2 times a month, you have an opportunity to win a free shirt item from our store, patreon.com/talkinggiants. Thanks to our patrons.
All right, so the Giants released Logan Ryan, and this was a very surprising move. And why was it a very surprising move? Because it doesn't make any sense on paper. Now, there's things behind the scenes that maybe we don't know and things to come, but this move does not make sense on paper. In fact, I was reading Dan Duggan's combine notes, and he's like, I've been hearing that they've been wanting to move Logan Ryan, but he's like, I just don't believe it. I just don't believe it because it doesn't make sense.
This is bad foresight on our end because even, no matter how you feel about Pat Leonard, he even put it out a couple weeks ago where he's sourced up. No matter how you feel about Pat Leonard, he's sourced up. He was putting it out a couple weeks ago. Dan Duggan was putting it out a couple weeks ago about there's serious rumblings about this, but he just didn't believe it. And similar, Bobby and I, we had side conversations like, did you see that Dan Duggan said this? And you're like, there's no way that it's gonna happen because it just doesn't make any sense. And not only does it not make sense on paper, I just don't think it doesn't make sense at all unless there is something behind the scenes that is happening. But it was a thing, bad foresight on our end to not talk about it on the show, but apparently it was a thing that it had a good chance of happening.
Well, it doesn't make sense because they only saved $775,000, and when you think of the vet minimum, which is $710,000, you essentially don't save anything. They're just cutting the player because they don't like the player. But it does, over the cap was wrong. It does save $2.9 million in 2023 to cut him now. I guess it's his the injury guarantee it was like an injury guarantee, that $3 million that would go until Friday.
And I saw something that said pre-June 1st, if you cut him pre-June 1st, that's what made it save the $3 million. So again, two different answers. A part of the frustrating day that was on Twitter, where at least my brain is and my frustration is that when Logan Ryan was cut, 17 different check marks were telling us 17 different things about the money the Giants did or didn't save. And that was a very frustrating thing.
So it does save them $3 million in 2023. So that will be the argument, is that it saves them money for 2023.
But that's not a good argument.
But I think if they were going to cut Logan Ryan, they should have done it as a post-June 1st cut. They would have saved them $3 million this year, Justin. And this is the year they need it. They're in line to have, before anybody's extended, and they might not even extend anybody. Like Saquon, will he be extended? Daniel Jones, will he be extended? Like Dexter Lawrence, maybe but they're in line to have almost $100 million in cap room.
I have
right
those
now,
numbers
we're
right here.
Scraping the bottom of the barrel to fill out this roster.
Yeah, I have those numbers right here about next year. So the Giants had before today $87.7 million in cap space. Now they have approximately $99 million. So the Giants saved that additional $3 million. If the Giants were to cut Logan Ryan next year, then it would be $96 million, because the dead cap would have been about $3 million next year. I don't think that's worth it. I personally don't think that's worth it. The Giants need depth in 2022, not cap space in 2023. And if your argument is, well, Logan Ryan's not that good to begin with, I get it. You cannot like Logan Ryan as a player. You cannot like how he drops interceptions. You cannot like what he was saying in post-game press conferences. Because if you go back on Talking Giants episodes, I was saying the same thing. I think I was a little bit more critical of Logan Ryan than you were. I was fed up that he was not the same playmaker in 2021 as he was in 2020, where he was really good in 2020. But Logan Ryan still, especially when it doesn't serve any financial benefit of cutting him right now, doesn't serve any financial benefit. Logan Ryan is not a scrub. Logan Ryan's not a scrub. And the Giants unnecessarily, in my opinion, created a position of need today when there is already right tackle, tight end, nose tackle, edge rusher, cornerback, if Bradberry's gone, and now add a safety to the mix of that.
And those are needs at a starter spot, not talking about depth. There's still a lot of depth needs as well. Logan Ryan they switched to a 2-high system, and Xavier McKinney was able to play the free safety role. So, a lot of times he was the covering on the under. And I think people do a bad job of judging safety play because you don't see it on TV much. And unless they're getting an interception or they're giving up a play, you don't know how to evaluate them. Unless they're like Xavier McKinney. Like, if you ask people about Xavier McKinney the first 5 weeks of the season, people say, like, oh, yeah, I like him, but he was playing bad. And then he really turned it on and played really well.
Because he made plays that appeared on the TV screen.
Yeah. But before, he was giving up big plays. He was the person responsible for big plays given up early in the season. It was Xavier McKinney. Again, if they would have done this as a post-June 1st cut, it makes sense because they are so desperate for cap space right now, and especially so with this James Bradberry contract situation or this trade situation, which I like what they're doing with Bradberry, by the way. We'll hit on it at the end of the podcast. But the arguments against it, man, the only argument can made for it is the $3 million in 2023 cap space, and I just don't think that's good enough.
It's not worth it because they need depth now, and again, unnecessarily they created a hole. Unnecessarily, I would rather have Logan Ryan out there doing. Now, I don't think he fits Wink Martindale's system, so that's also a rebuttal. I don't think he fits it.
But who are they going to bring in that's going to fit Wink Martindale and be a starter day one?
I'm really looking forward to that undrafted free agent that we're going to have in here. Or if we select somebody higher in the draft, pseudo Kyle Hamilton round 1. Let's go through the scenarios, right? Kyle Hamilton round 1. The fan base is erupting that we lost out on an edge rusher or an offensive tackle. Round 2. Let's just say we take a safety round 2, right? Then we're losing out on one of those edge rushers that could possibly be there in round 2. We're losing out on a Trey McBride. Round 3, we're losing out on an interior lineman that usually you have good value there. So that's my point. Is that, okay, yeah, you could just draft one. You can just find a replacement. if you're going to find a good replacement for Logan Ryan, then something else that is more important is going to be sacrificed. And that is why I am concerned and worried and not happy with this move.
Yeah, and again, like the argument for, like, I think it's Deshaun Elliott from the Ravens is there was like, okay, well, I would much rather let Logan Ryan, who can be a solid player, who is a solid player in the NFL, who I do think can fit Wink Martindale's scheme. I mean, he's played deep safety, he's played down towards the box, and he's played cornerback. Now, again, he's not the same exact player, but I think he does fit what Wink Martindale does. You know, he's, again, not going to be perfect, but I think he does fit. Like, I know people, like, I feel like Peppers would have more of an issue because there's so much of relying on man coverage, and Peppers isn't good in man coverage, especially if it's against, like, you know, slot wide receivers, where Logan Ryan, you can put him against a slot wide receiver and not lose any sleep at night about it. Mm-hmm. So I think Logan Ryan fits better. Now, in the run game, Peppers would fit better. But in the pass game, like, I definitely think Logan Ryan fits that role better. And especially since there's going to be, like, you know, Wink Martindale wants to put the green dot on the safety sometimes, you know, and that Logan Ryan's good for that role.
Now, again, McKinney, I will say, even just with that point, McKinney started to do that a little bit in 2021, I believe. And if that's the direction that they want to go, I think Logan Ryan would be fine with that. You know, I don't think that would be a hit to his pride. And again, maybe he's more of an egotistical guy than we thought, but we don't know. We can only speculate from what we know right now. So I really want to hear, and I'm going to be anxious to hear, why moving on from Logan Ryan. What is the rationale financially and also roster-wise?
Yeah, that is, next time we hear from Joe Schoen, like, that's number one. Like, I want to hear, and again, he probably won't give you a real answer, but like, what happened with Logan Ryan? Because I just feel like there's got to be more to this than just simply like, oh, they just wanted to start fresh. Because then you need to move on from Shep. Then you get the extra $2 million from just cutting Blake Martinez instead of taking a pay cut. Yeah. Like, then you need to trade Saquon. You know, there's other moves that if we're just totally punting 2022, then there's other moves to be made. Like, let's just, like, there's, like, other than, again, you don't save any money on Logan Ryan in 2022. In 2023, you don't need the $3 million.
Yeah, this is not a move that's competing for today and building for tomorrow. I really don't feel, you know, that's Joe Schoen's phrase. A lot of people were throwing around the tough, you know, smart, tough, dependable today. I think that those are the three buzzwords. Sure, Logan Ryan may not fit that, but this is certainly not a move that's building for today while competing for tomorrow. One thing that I also want a beat person on the beat to ask Joe Schoen, because I could see this possibly being a problem. I wonder if the Giants asked him, hey, would you be willing to make a move back to slot corner instead of safety? Because Logan Ryan was very adamant on when he signed with the Giants that he did not want to be a slot corner. He wanted to be signed as a safety. So I wonder if they asked him, would you be willing to make that transition? And I wonder if he said no. That's my thinking. That would make sense.
Yeah,
but it's a reach. It's a reach.
You know, I don't know. I don't know how all this went down. There's also been like, oh, well, he was Joe Judge's guy, and it's like, come on, like, Logan Ryan's a professional. Like, yes, did he love Joe Judge and Joe Judge
Ebner
loved
was
him?
Joe Judge's guy.
But like the idea that, well, because he was just too close to Joe Judge to be with this new, like, that is law. You know, that is a, you know, you can tell us about you don't know everything's going on. Well, you definitely don't know what everything's going on if you're doing the Joe Judge. It's like, this is because he was part of Joe Judge. And again, like, they might have a plan. I know people like Kyle Hamilton a lot, and I guess you can have different opinions on that, but I just think there's 7 guys worth taking before Kyle Hamilton in this draft.
And also, there are 2 players on the team that are the exceptions of, these are reasons why you don't take X player. Andrew Thomas is a reason why you don't take a left tackle, not right tackle. Andrew Thomas is a reason why you don't take a left tackle. And I genuinely do believe that Xavier McKinney is why you don't need to take another game-changing safety. I really do. I really think Xavier McKinney deserves that.
I agree with you, but people are going to come at it with like the 2 safety tandem with him and Kyle Hamilton. But I do agree with you. Like, I just don't think Kyle Hamilton should be drafted by the Giants. I think there's 7 players that are more worthy.
Yep.
And not just talking about drafting for need. You know, positional value matched with player evaluation.
I feel better. I feel a lot better now. I was hot to start. I didn't get as hot as I was worried I was going to, and I got my emotions out there.
I also think people put too much into, like, not all 9 players in the draft are going to be good.
Yes.
Like, if 5 are, like, starting level players, that's an amazing draft. That's an amazing draft if you can get 5 just starting level players out of these 9. Like, that's an amazing draft. And I
know Jerry Reese was bad, but let's just give you this context for a second. I tweeted this out, I think 2 days ago. The last time the Giants had 5 draft picks in the top 100 was 2009. Here's what they did with those picks. Hakeem Nicks, Clint Sintum, Will Beatty, Ramses Barden, Travis Beckham. Hakeem Nicks was a hit. Will Beatty, I guess maybe you consider a hit. It's injuries that kind of derailed him. It's injuries that derailed Hakeem Nicks. But the last time the Giants had 5 top 100 draft picks, again, I know it's Jerry Reese, and I know he was really bad at drafting, but 2 of those guys hit out of the 5. That's somewhat of an okay return, right?
Not. Well, who was the second round pick?
Clint Sintum.
That's not okay.
Yeah.
You got to hit on second round picks.
What they did with him is, he was a 3-4 outside linebacker, and they took him when they still had a 4-3 system. So, but you understand my point, though. I'm kind of trying to piggyback.
Is that we're not going to. This
point.
Draft isn't going to just fill 9 needs.
Yeah.
And
the Giants legitimately do have like 9 needs.
Well, that's just as like starting them. Like they need depth, Like now you don't just need 1 more depth safety. You need 2 depth safety, or a starting safety and a depth safety.
Yeah.
And don't put so much weight on pressure on Julian Love that Julian Love's going to come in here and ball. Like, what from the last 3 years has told you that Julian Love's just ready to go as a starting safety?
Yeah, or even like Adrian Robinson. All right, you're gonna be a slot corner, or
Robinson.
Oh, I'm sorry. Who's Adrian Robinson is
the tight end.
Is a former Giant, right? Put so much pressure on Aaron Robinson. Okay, you're just gonna be a starting corner. Yeah, I got Jerry Reese drafts on the brain. Okay, Dory Jackson, you're just going to be cornerback 1 now, or if we just pick up, or if we draft a rookie, okay, you're just going to be cornerback 2 now. It's tough. It's just tough.
And again, they're saving nothing. They're essentially saving nothing when you factor in that the top 51 players come into the cap. They're not again. If they were saving $2 million, okay.
Yeah.
If they do this as a post-June, it's just do this. Like, we're not. Listen, if you want to move on from Logan Ryan, fine. Do it as a post-June 1st cut. Say, you are so strapped for cash right now. They haven't even announced Ricky Seals-Jones probably because they haven't been able to make it official. Like, that's how strapped for cash they are right now. That's the thing. It's they're so strapped for cash, and like you said, they create another hole. And again, all right, can we move on?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, college basketball fans, you're pissing me off, but join the action on the court during the big tournament of the year with Draftkings Sports. I wonder if you could bet on actual court, who will win this case. Turn your team. Who were we trying to free on Supplement Radio this morning?
I don't know if we were trying to free anybody.
Oh, it was the woman.
Florida versus New Jersey. Man.
Yeah, it was the woman who punched somebody in the face that was turning around their driveway. There's more to the story. Free her. Turn your team's victory into your own big win. New customers can bet $5 on any team to win and get $200 in free bets if they do. It's that simple. If they win, you win. By the way, Supplement Radio it's been fun. If Sportsbook isn't available in your state yet, you can still join in the college hoop actions with DraftKings pools. Everyone can play free pools all March long for a shot at a share of $250,000 in prize. Simply join a pool and answer questions like who will make it to the next round and who will hit the most 3-pointers, then track your results. By the way, I called St. Peter's. I actually have in the finals. They're going to lose, though. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code. We're recording this before the St. Peter's Kentucky game, but I really think St. Peter's is going to win this. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code JOHNBOY. Bet $5 on any college hoops team to win and get $200 in free bets if they do. If they win, you win with promo code JOHNBOY this week at DraftKings Sportsbook. 21 plus. Restrictions apply. See show notes for details. All right. The Giants signed Tyrod Taylor as their backup QB. who will be 33 this season. The contract breakdown is 2 years for $11 million with $6 million in incentives. So $11 million of it is guaranteed, 10.9. His cap hit for 2022 is 2.7 mil, and then it jumps up to 6.9 in 2023. And then there's a void year in 2024 with a 1.4 mil dead cap hit. In 6 games, he's completed 60.7% of his passes, 161 yards per game, 5 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Let's talk about Tyrod Taylor as a player first, and then we could talk about like the Giants and what this means for Daniel Jones, and just the QB signing in general. If you would have asked me like what 3 backup QBs would you like just as player, it would have been Mariota, Tyrod Taylor, and Mitchell Trubisky. So I do like having Taylor as a backup. He's definitely an upgrade over Mike Glennon.
I also have another question for you. For Wake and Jake, we recently did rankings of the top 40 quarterbacks in the National Football League. Where did you have Daniel Jones? And then do you remember where you had Tyrod Taylor?
I don't remember where I had Tyrod Taylor. I had Jones at 20. Tyrod Taylor maybe at like 27.
I had Jones at 21 and Tyrod Taylor at 25.
Okay, so yeah. What is Tyrod Taylor as a player? He's got a good arm. He can make deep sideline throws. And obviously he's mobile, right? Like that's the thing we all know him for. But he's kind of like a game manager with the ability to move. And I think the biggest value he has as a backup QB is turning sacks into positive gains, or being able to throw the ball away. Like that's when you watch on film, like that's the thing like Mike Glennon wouldn't be able to do, Colt McCoy wouldn't be able to do, is taking plays that should be sacks and being able to scramble and get out of them. Like that's his biggest thing, because sacks are drive killers. Look at the percentage of drives scored with sacks versus not. Like they end drives, and sacks from a backup QB more so are going to end drives because it's going to be harder to compensate for them. That being said, he does create sacks, with indecision. There is times where he creates sacks with his indecision.
He takes a lot of sacks.
His struggles are versus the blitz, and then his accuracy is, when he's under pressure, his accuracy is pretty bad. Check out the film breakdown, but his accuracy can be bad under pressure. But he's going to thrive in the quick game and then the 3-level reads, which is that's where you saw the big plays come out, was the stuff that Brian Dable does. So I like that. And then like the pick your spot shots. So he's not afraid to be aggressive, but he's not like some gunslinger backup QB with Tyrod Taylor. So I do think this is kind of like a perfect fit for Daniel Jones. He's not better than Daniel Jones. I know some people have that opinion, and I respect your opinion, but it's wrong. I've watched all of Daniel Jones. I've watched the film on Tyrod Taylor. Daniel Jones is a better quarterback than Tyrod Taylor, but Taylor's a good backup. And if it's not a Mike Glennon situation, it's not going to be as bad as Mike Glennon if Daniel Jones goes down.
You had a line to start the Tyrod Taylor film breakdown about what a backup quarterback is. Can you repeat that?
A bad starter.
A backup quarterback is a bad starter.
A good backup QB is a backup starter. And if they're not, they become good starters. Like when you bring up, Jeff Hostetler or Dak Prescott, it's like, well, those guys became good starters. Tyrod Taylor's 33 years old. He's not going to become a good starter. But he is a good backup. Contract-wise, Justin, to me, this signals not necessarily like this. They're going to give Daniel Jones every opportunity to succeed and be the guy, but they're not betting on it. $6.9 million in 2023 is not betting on Daniel Jones.
No.
Like this is honestly, this may be more important for 2023, where they can bring someone in if they want to go the rookie QB route. Like this is what this signing is. Because again, there's $6.9 million in 2023. You added a void year. There's no way they added a void year because Daniel Jones has injury issues. They didn't add a void year on a backup QB is kind of a crazy thing. I don't know how many times that's happened. And again, he's a high paid backup QB. But the 2022 $2.7 million deal number is fine. Again, you don't want to be pushing stuff. Like we talked about it in our free agent preview. Like, does Joe Shane want to backload contracts? No, but he's going to be kind of forced to with the way the Giants cap situation is right now.
Yeah, and also, I mean, these are 2-year deals. So I'm not, you're not going to lose your mind versus like Kenny Galladay. Hey, this is how many years did he sign? 5?
4.
4. Leonard Williams extended for 4 or 5. 3. There you go. I'm really good tonight. I'm really batting 1,000. Adrian Robinson. This is what I'm heated. Yeah, Bobby. I am thinking more about 2023 with Tyrod Taylor coming on rather than 2022. Because there's a part of me, and Dan Duggan even brought this up, that was like, Tyrod Taylor could serve as the bridge quarterback for whoever Joe Schoen may want to bring in next. Well, I'm like, isn't that the point of 2022? If Daniel Jones doesn't prove that he's the guy, that Daniel Jones can be a bridge quarterback? I don't think that's their thinking right now.
Well, I think he's saying the bridge as far as like someone to start if they draft a young QB who's not ready to start week 1, because they're not going to bring Daniel Jones to do that.
Or honestly, I also thought of this too, which makes me feel a little bit better about having Tyrod Taylor in here. If they don't feel like they can upgrade a quarterback in 2022 based on where their draft position is, if they can't trade up, if they don't have the ammo to trade up, where they would be devoiding themselves of resources in future years, then Tyrod Taylor can be that starter in 2023, so you don't have to bankrupt yourself, so you don't have to go out and trade for a veteran quarterback or trade all the way up for a quarterback or force yourself to take a quarterback that you don't really want. So that is why it's also somewhat good of having Tyrod Taylor here in 2023. That would be a pretty miserable season, by the way. If we are in a situation where we just have to accept that Tyrod Taylor is the quarterback because Joe Schoen doesn't see that there's an upgrade out there for quarterback, that's going to be a pretty miserable season. But
which is, if Daniel Jones doesn't perform this year, that's what's going to happen. And again, you don't want them to force a QB pick. Like if Daniel Jones isn't good this year, Tyrod Taylor, and they don't believe in a QB in the 2023 class, spare me the Bryce Young, CJ Stroud. Like, let's not set the board for the 2023 draft.
This time last year, Sam Howell,
Alabama and Ohio State QB. But anyways,
this time last year, Sam Howell was the clear number 1 pick. So,
but there's a good chance that Tyrod Taylor is the starting quarterback. As far as backup QBs, Justin, this is a lot of money for a backup QB, and I think we're so shell shocked and like scarred by Mike Glennon. Like not every backup QB is going to be as bad as Mike Glennon. Okay, mm-hmm. And again, Mike Glennon was bad, but also a product of his environment. Again, he had career lows in every single category, and like, what games do the Giants win if Tyrod Taylor is their QB instead of Mike Glennon? Seriously, and I want you to hit, because people will hit me with one. I want to show you something. Look at Mike Glennon. They had one common opponent, Mike Glennon and Tyrod Taylor, the Miami Dolphins. Tyrod Taylor played, and go watch it, played exponentially worse than Mike Glennon did versus the Miami Dolphins. And Glennon played damn bad, but Tyrod Taylor played much worse. They both put up 9 points, but Tyrod Taylor played really bad in that game. Now, don't judge Taylor off of one game, because he did play better in his other 5 games than Mike Glennon did in his. But against their one common opponent, Tyrod Taylor played much worse than what Mike Glennon did. And again, the Giants, like you said, they need all these starters. Now they have an extra one with Logan Ryan. Like, I would have been in the boat of spending very little on a backup, but at the same time, they did spend very little in 2000. They spent middle of the pack for 2022. They're spending a lot in 2023 on a backup.
Yeah, and they're preparing for a worst case scenario in 2023. That is Daniel Jones not panning out and then not finding a quarterback that you want to put your job on the line for. So that's where I am okay with it, but also like what I would do if I was in the seat, which nobody cares about, and that's why I'm sitting behind a microphone and I'm not there. What I would do if I was in their seats is I just would barely invest in it at all, and I would be solely looking for a solution at quarterback 1 and not worrying about 2023. Like, how am I going to build up, and how am I going to invest in quarterback 1 down the road, and how can we avoid that being a guy like Tyrod Taylor? But again, that's why I'm here. Again,
like the backup, like you could have you could have addressed the 2023 need of bridge QB in 2023. And again, like, there's $6 million worth of incentives, and I would love to see what those incentives are, Justin. But Daniel Jones does have an injury problem. Like, let's not say he doesn't get $3 million of those incentives. You know what I mean?
Also, Tyrod Taylor has an injury problem too.
Yeah, he does, which is kind of funny. Not funny, but you know what I mean.
Ironic.
Yeah, ironic. Some of the talking points around Taylor have been kind of crazy. Like, Davis Mills outperformed him in Houston this year. I even, maybe I shouldn't do the straw man. I saw a couple people say he was playing good for the Chargers. No, he wasn't. Like, watch that game versus the Bengals week 1 before the punctured lung thing, which is totally messed up. But it was like, I watched that game because it was, I wanted to see Joe Burrow's first start, and Tyrod Taylor was bad. And I was like, why are they not playing Justin Herbert? This is insane. And then they played Justin Herbert, and he played really well. And look at him. He's kind of good. But he was just like a solid middle of the pack starter in Buffalo. So again, if you bring Tyrod Taylor in a good offensive system, can win some games. And I think that's what the Giants wanted out of their backup QB. Where Mike Glennon in a good offensive system doesn't look horrible, but I don't think he wins you anything.
Outside of this year, he seems like he does a really good job of taking care of the ball, especially when it comes with interceptions, which that's what you want out of a backup quarterback. Tyrod Taylor's 3 years of starting at Buffalo, he had an ESPN QBR, which I don't love that metric, but it is based on EPA. Tyrod Taylor had an ESPN QBR all 3 of those years that were higher than Daniel Jones's first 3 years of him playing as a pro. So I think those are the 2 biggest positives of Tyrod Taylor. He'll give you the big plays every once in a while. He adds the mobility factor that you want out of a backup quarterback. He seems to take care of the ball. But he's still like Bobby said, a backup QB is still a bad starter.
Yeah. But the argument would be that Daniel Jones is a bad starter, but Daniel Jones is better than Tyrod Taylor.
All those can be
true. Fight me about it if you disagree. All right, Justin, want to read the ad before we hit on Ricky Seals-Jones and James Bradberry?
Yeah, we'll have a long time to talk about
our 20-minute conversation on Corey Cunningham.
Yeah, we'll have a. Do you want? Hey, maybe we'll save a conversation of how many games does Tyrod Taylor start this year.
Dougie Fresh makes a good point that the Tyrod Taylor injuries are overblown. Well, actually, he is right. The puncturing, he 2 seasons worth of injuries.
Yeah,
but also he hasn't played much. But he's not he's not Eli Manning.
You want to know who was the ball busters of brackets today? But we don't know this yet because the game didn't happen yet.
I don't know who will be, but I really think St. Peter is going to beat Kentucky.
Well, Bobby Skinner, St. Peter's is about to be some ball busters, and March Madness is here. And not everyone can have a perfect bracket like Bobby Skinner, but you can have the perfect set of balls this tournament with the sponsors of today's show, Manscaped, the leaders in below-the-waist grooming. They've just launched their ultra-premium collection to give you the total championship hygiene routine. This is everything. This is in the shower. This is cologne. This is getting your Manscaped all right with Manscaped's company name. After sweating out the games, make sure you lather up head to toe with this all-in-one skin and hair kit to have your body and balls smelling Final Four fresh alliteration. Join the 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with our exclusive offer. Go to manscaped.com, use code GIANTS, get 20% off plus free shipping. We all know the essential Manscaped Lawnmower 4.0 electric trimmer. It's all for that precise trim below the waist. Their advanced skin-safe technology reduces cuts on your basket balls. What I want you to do, again, 20% off plus free shipping with the code GIANTS at manscaped.com. 20% off free shipping at manscaped.com. Use promo code GIANTS. Make sure you call on Manscaped this tournament season or your bracket won't be the only thing that's busted. You'll be smelling like shit. How about that? Don't smell like shit.
In serio, don't smell like poop.
Any more Tyrod Taylor stuff, or are we moving on?
His highlights are fun. He's a fun backup QB to put highlights together for. He doesn't run as much as you'd think.
No, that's why when you said that his mobility is the first thing that comes to mind, it's not what comes to mind for me. I mean, I think of him as just like a pretty solid game manager that can run if needed. That's not his first instinct.
No, but it's like, I think the biggest thing is saving, taking sacks and avoiding them.
He takes a lot of sacks.
Yeah, but Houston's offensive line was really bad.
That's
really bad.
Cleveland, he started a few games in 2018. He had an insane pressure rate of 39%. This year, which is insane. This year, his pressure rate was 27%, and his average time in the pocket was 2.2 seconds. That is very, very quick. Spending an average, not just average time to throw. This is average time in the pocket. and then he was running wherever he needed to run to get rid of the football. So that's also why it's difficult to evaluate these journeyman backup QBs too, is because these are terrible teams that they're playing on. So,
all right, let's talk about the Giants tight end they signed. Ricky Seals-Jones, who played for Washington this past year, 27 years old, had 30 catches for 271 yards, 2 touchdowns. We don't know the details on this contract, and we retired the phrase last offseason of assume the minimum, because every time we assume the minimum, it's not the minimum. But I think you can assume that it's not going to be a lot because they don't have a lot right now. Him as a player, I don't think he's not brought in to be the starter, but if he's starting a game for you, it's not the worst thing in the world. He's a backup tight end who's fast. He's a former wide receiver in high school and college. And I think his best ability is to get yak. And that's what Washington did with him. They put him in motion. They put him on shallow crossers, and give him some easy catches when the zones are dropping back, and he gets good yak. He takes a catch that could be with Kyle Rudolph would be a 3rd and 9. With Ricky Seals-Jones, it becomes a 3rd and 4. Gets in and has that speed to get those yak plays. He can make some tough contested catches, but he also has drop issues. Fun fact, over the last 4 years, he either has the same or have a worse drop rate than Evan Ingram. Now, we can't count 2020 because he had 1 target and it was a drop. But 3 years where he did get targets, he had either the more or same of a drop rate than Evan Ingram. But he does make some tough contested catches. Remember the Adoree Jackson touchdown versus Washington in week 2? Pain. That was Ricky Seals-Jones on one of his 9 snaps in that game. His route running isn't good. It's not crisp, but his best route is the speed out, and that makes sense because you got linebackers and safeties versus a fast tight end who's got momentum, who's got your hips open, and then breaks towards the sideline. That's going to be his best route. That's the route you can trust him to be in the right place at the right time on. I did notice a little bit of finding some holes in his zone, which Evan Ingram never did. I think that if there's one thing he's better than Evan Ingram, it's that. But he's a bad blocker, the phrase willing, a willing blocker. Ricky Seals-Jones isn't that. He's a bad blocker, and they're gonna put him in motion, put him in the slot. Sometimes they'll use him as a wham blocker, but I don't think the Giants are gonna do that. He's a bad blocker.
Yeah, and on the note that he's a bad blocker, last year with Washington, 58.3% of his snaps he took out in the slot, and only 22.7% he took out, he took in line, I guess with his hand in the dirt. So he's fast, and if he's not that great of a route runner, I think Brian Daboll may use him on those crossers over the middle of the field, and if he's good at those contested catches, even if he doesn't create a lot of separation, you ask whatever quarterback's back there, hey, throw that ball up, and he'll go up and he'll get it, throw it out, he'll stretch his arms, he'll be able to do that. So he's a tight end with the pulse. That's my main thoughts. Ricky Seals-Jones is a tight end with the pulse, and the Giants need tight ends with pulses. They need professional tight ends with a heartbeat right now.
Tight end is a huge need, and they had Chris Myrick as their tight end 1 going into free agency. It's a damn shame Caden Smith had that injury because this would be finally the Caden Smith time, and it's just been robbed out of us. That's been the thorn in my side has been the Caden Smith era in the New York Giants. But with a team that's going to be looking to spread the field, get guys vertically, get players on crossers, to have your backup tight end or your tight end 3 to be able to move, that's a value to Brian Daboll.
Yeah.
And again, there's a huge need at tight end. I think they're going to have one tight end be their H-back, / fullback, because they're not bringing back Penny or Colin Gillespie. So we would assume the other backup tight end fits that role, and then there's going to be a starting tight end. Because they have to add a starting tight end. I don't think you can go into a season with Ricky Seals-Jones as your tight end 1. I guess you could do whatever you want because we're punting and nothing matters and everything sucks. In Giants land, or everything sucks and everything Joe Shane does is perfectly right now in Giants land.
And it's not about 2022, which I saw more of those takes today than I ever saw. This year's not about 2022. That energy
wasn't brought to the Tyrod Taylor signing, but anyways.
It's this year's not about 2022. It's about this year is about 2023. I really disagree with that. I would like to see progress, and I think that's what good teams do. Good teams that are ready to compete in 2023 are also going to show progress in 2022, and that's what this year's about.
Yes, and also the offense is supposed to be better.
things should be better.
The offense should be better.
Football should be better this year for the New York Football Giants.
Yeah, and there's a fucking middle ground on rebuilding and going all out and or doing what Dave Gettleman did in 2018. The idea that we're supposed to have this fucking roster of just dog shit ass players and like, fuck it, 2022, we're just, it's about rebuilding. Like, rebuilding doesn't mean having a roster full of dog shit players to sign $60,000. Okay, I've been holding it in all episode. Like, yes, I want there to be not just, hey, we got a tight end 3 at tight end 1. We got this. And then when I put out a tweet that says we need 7 starters, some dumbass page says, oh, they need an inside linebacker too. It's like, the inside linebacker too, they can start Tate Crowder. Look at all these fucking holes. Like, Tate Crowder being a starting linebacker next to Blake Martinez is the least of my worries right now. They started him for 23 games on purpose. And it wasn't because he was drafted high. It's because he earned it from being Mr. Irrelevant. Oh my God, I've been holding that.
Wow. I thought I was going to have that point. That was my worry this episode, is I was going to do exactly what you just did. But I'm glad you did it.
Oh my God. It's so annoying because every discourse is either great signing or it doesn't or it just doesn't matter. It's just it doesn't matter.
Yep.
It's gonna, like you said, and we were in our group chat. You're like people have no problem with moving on from Logan Ryan for $60,000 now, but when an undrafted free agent Grant Haley's giving up a his third touchdown of the game, we're gonna care all of a sudden.
Yep. Exactly. Well, why didn't we draft a slot corner? Why didn't blah blah blah? Well,
like, they're not gonna be able to fill these needs. Like you said, they have 5 picks in the top 100. They have like 9 starter needs plus depth needs, and those guys aren't going to walk in and be good starters or starters in Drennel. It's going to be, anyways.
Ricky Seals-Jones, though.
And we're overrating Julian Love.
Ricky Seals-Jones. Fast. Going to be out in the slot a lot.
Yeah. Speaking of Ricky Williams said, calm down, Joe Judge, laughing my ass off, which that basically was the Joe Judge 11-minute rant. It was shorter, but it was just building up. Like, you know what? I'm so sick of having like calculated answers with everything. All right. Here's something I love what they're doing. This James Bradberry. I love that they're holding out with James Bradberry and not giving him away for nothing. Like, a team's going to want James Bradberry, and I really do love that they're holding out on this, Justin.
Any chance? I don't think there is any chance. Any chance he is on the team this year? No,
he's definitely not. So apparently there has been trade offers. So they have trade offers in their back pocket if needed.
Oh, where did you was that somebody legit that said that?
I think Jeremy Fowler, either Jeremy Fowler or it was somebody I had post notifications on for. So it was somebody legit saying, but like they're gonna hold that. But I also don't think if they didn't have any trade, like if even like a bad trade offer, I don't think they would go into it with the guaranteed money type thing.
Yeah.
And then just cut him. You know, I don't think they'd be doing this holdout if there wasn't any trade offer. So I don't know when it's going to happen. Hell, it could happen on draft day. But I'm very confident James Bradberry will be traded. And I like that they're holding out on this. Like, this is, draft picks matter. A pick in round 3 is a lot different than a pick in round 4 and 5. I mean, think about that. If it's the difference between a 3rd round or a 4th round pick, essentially 30 players that you like better than the player you picked just went off the board.
And then this is why trading your players before, now obviously James Bradberry wasn't going to end his time with the Giants in a Giant uniform and wasn't going to play out his entirety of his contract, but this is why it's good to trade players and not just let guys walk, because maybe you can get a pick that's better than a comp pick. What a concept. Yeah, again, my brain just goes back to cornerback 1, not just cornerback. Cornerback 1 is now the biggest need on the team if James Bradberry is not here.
I disagree, though, because Adoree Jackson has played cornerback 1. He's not the best cornerback 1, but he's coming off his best season. Like, Adoree being... Now, at the same time, I think an ideal draft could be Akim Ekwonu and Ahmad Gardner, or Kayvon Thibodeau and Ahmad Gardner if the tackles aren't there. So not to say that, and in cornerback's a very valuable position. It's either, for me, it's like realistic. It's like one of the tackles, Kayvon Thibodeau, Ahmad Gardner. And honestly, if I felt like I can get him Kayvon Thibodeau at 7, I might take Ahmad Gardner at 5. You know, so, but having Adoree Jackson as cornerback 1 isn't like, oh my, it's not the worst thing in the world.
Yeah. Adoree Jackson was a lot better statistically than James Bradberry last year, but James Bradberry does face wide receiver 1s, while Adoree Jackson, you know, he faces wide receiver 2, and Adoree Jackson is also much better against man coverage than James Bradberry. I think here, PFF grades, we don't subscribe to it, but this is just the thing. Adoree Jackson, 11th highest graded cornerback in man coverage. He was the 2nd highest graded cornerback in zone coverage last year. So there you go.
Adoree Jackson sucks now.
There you go. Here's the question I'm going to ask you. Positional value question. James Bradberry is not on the team next year, so he's out in my brain. Is cornerback 1 more of a need for the Giants or right tackle?
Right tackle.
In your brain.
Right
Say that again?
Right tackle?
Oh, I adamantly disagree.
I think right tackle is by far this team's biggest need. Because there's no free agent addition they can add. And taking one in the 2nd or 3rd round is dangerous.
I think for 2022, okay, so let's just say you draft Ahmad Gardner this year. I don't think you automatically catapult him to, facing, CeeDee Lamb and Terry McLaurin 4 times a year. But for future, CB1, most important, and then right tackle.
Well, unlike you, I think offense is way more important than defense.
Wow.
That's why I have right tackle.
Way to throw that back in my face.
But I mean, don't get me wrong. The Giants are gonna trade Aaron Robinson, James Bradberry. If the tackles Thibodeau and Ahmad Gardner are all available at 5, it's gonna pain me that we won't get one of those guys. Like, it really will. Like, that's how much I like Sauce Gardner. I'm starting to just call him Sauce Gardner because everyone else does.
Yeah, well, you literally said like a week ago, I don't want to call a grown man Sauce. So.
I know, but everyone calls him that. But I like calling him Ahmad better. Like, if we ever interview him, I'm calling him an Ahmad.
I just called him Ahmad. I didn't call him Sauce.
All right, the Giants re-signed Corey Cunningham. Essentially a camp body. If they want to keep 4 tackles, he's got as good a chance to be as Matt Parrott does.
And wide receiver Robert Foster, contract details came out. 1 year, $965,000 with no guarantees. It's basically a futures deal that the Giants signed on the first day of free agency.
Yeah, that's essentially what he's battling for, a roster spot.
Good news.
I didn't do a film breakdown on him, which means he's not a real free agent signing.
Good news. We can continue to talk about Corey Cunningham on Giants Stories.
Yes, that is actually good news. I need to update the Instagram. So I was, we're not doing Giant Stories this week. I'll just do it right now. I haven't unfollowed Evan Ingram because I actually want to, whatever, I thought he'd have some type of goodbye to New York, and I wanted to be the first to post it. And maybe he did.
He said goodbye to New York when he removed everything out of his bio.
Yeah. I put out a tweet, and I tweeted at him, I was like, waiting for your good thank you to Giants Nation. People were like, he doesn't owe you that. It's like, that's the fucking joke, okay? It's like that. There's no reason for Evan Ingram to thank Giants Nation. All right, I'm unfollowing Evan Ingram. But at the same time, he hasn't posted anything about the Jacks. But you know what? Someone else will post it.
He did tweet out, like, Duval Nation or something like that. He did tweet out, like, Jacksonville. He tweeted out, maybe not on Instagram. Should I sing a song? You will remember.
Evan Ingram tweeted?
Yeah, he tweeted. He did, yeah.
Oh, I didn't see that. So, Corey Cunningham, dinner in Queens, slight celebratory drink, Mick Ultra and a shot. Very good, cool. Shout out Trent Sherfield for getting signed. Shout out Chase Edmonds for getting signed. He reposted some of his teammates posting his stuff. Resign. All right, so cool stuff for our guy Corey Cunningham. I'm excited to have you on Giant Stories this offseason. Let's go through Giant Stories. Kadarius Toney, just nothing. Tyrod Taylor's at the Giants logo, at the Giants field. McKinney saying bye to Logan Ryan. The players love Logan Ryan, by the way.
They do, yeah. A lot of them were posting. Quick question about Tyrod Taylor. What did you think did they have a text conversation, him and Daniel Jones, or was it a phone conversation?
it was a text conversation, but Zach Rosenblatt kind of like worded it a little poorly, where it was like he texted him and said that he's a good athlete and can make all the throws. It made it sound like Daniel Jones texted that to Tyrone. Our guy Tap Jackson had a good text edit of that, and it was like,
how do you think that went?
Hey Tyro, welcome to the team. He's like, thanks Daniel, excited to get to work. He's like, I'm mobile and I can make all the throws. And Tyrod Taylor says, okay. But all right, that's an episode. We will see you guys on most likely Tuesday. Might have an interview on Tuesday. I haven't even told Justin about this, but it's read the tea leaves. It's an episode we have post free agency every single year, and this guy might just be an award-winning journalist.
Yeah, mentioned him a few times today.
All right, we appreciate you guys. Enjoy your weekend. Until then, let's go Big Blue.